we saw some riots on our streets. Not far from here, windows were being smashed and fires started. Naturally, no one condones this kind of behaviour, but we're constantly being told that a lot of this could be due to deprived areas, poor education, bad parenting, and obviously people having nothing to do. In my day, we had lots of youth clubs. Unfortunately, nowadays, a lot of them are closing down. I'm going to be visiting a youth club in Withington today called the Old Moat Project, just to find out exactly what is happening.
The current situation for us is that by the end of the 31st of March, we will have lost probably 50% of our funding. We're going to have to run to very skeleton sort of staff to keep the place open. We're only just beginning to see the impact. I think actually over the next year, 18 months, there's going to be a lot of small grassroots organisations like this that will end up going to the wall.
If they did have somewhere to go with positive influences, I think that would be a good thing. But if the youth centres are closing down because of government cuts or whatever, then that's not a good thing.
It would help if youth centres were still open and lots of resources put into them. The young people today are good. There's no different to when I was younger. It's just that's more obvious because all the TV programmes, when people get a nuisance, it's obvious.
Well, it'll have a bit of effect on the young people today. They shouldn't be closing them down. They should be helping the young ones to get, good education and so they can find themselves a job.
Manchester was one of the major cities affected by the recent riots. 36 youth centres are expected to close, putting a total of 300 youth workers out of a job. If the definition of the big society is what we can do for others, then this could be devastating for our local community. Well, obviously over the years you've seen so many changes. Yet we are embarking on another change, which has been termed the big society. How do you feel about this? Because, I mean, the big society, although it's very much talked about, it is a little bit confusing, and most people's perception of the big societies is that organisations like yours should be part of it. Now, if we see organisations like yours losing funding and disappearing, then, it's very difficult to understand what this big society is. I mean, what's your take on that?
I do have a lot of concerns about that, because while I agree that it's great that local communities get involved in things that are going on in their area, to expect them to take over, running youth projects or, getting involved in other organisations, there's no thought gone into that local people won't have had the training, won't have had the years of experience that people who are already doing that work have. And, I think it's going to leave people wide open to being put in very difficult situations. If they just expected to suddenly set up a youth project with young people who are sometimes quite challenging, will be a difficult thing for people in local communities to do.
And that is why we need people with skills in youth centres to try to research things properly. But the answer's with young people, it's not with adults like me. They have to sort themselves out. I'll be there to help them, but young people have to look after young people. They know the answers themselves.